Hi there. Welcome everyone to our webinar on this lovely day today. Um, as you can probably see, I am hosting, and this is my first one that I'm doing since I've been back from mat leave. So I'm a little rusty, but I do have our webinar pro with me. So Phil, say hi to everyone.
Hey everyone, what's
And
going on? I see everybody's rejoining in here right now or whatever. So I see people, Jason, Maria, Jacob, Justin, lots of people popping into the chat. We do also have Pooja, one of our wonderful onboarders, moderating in the chat as well today too. So everyone say hi to Pooja.
Hi everyone. I hope you guys are having a good day.
There we go. Uh,
thank you,
lots and
Pooja, for
lots of
doing
people.
this. Yeah, this is awesome. It's great to be back, guys, and yeah, hopefully we get to showcase a lot of cool things about barcodes and SKUs today. I learned a lot by doing this webinar, so hope I guess we'll get started. So, as you know, the topic today is barcodes and SKUs, and so I kind of tried to make it as simple as possible. I broke it down into just talking a little bit about each one of them. What's the difference? Why are they useful? In terms of barcodes, I'm going to go through the types of barcodes that you can have, what's in a barcode, how's it made up, and how do I set it up. And same with SKUs, creating a SKU and how do you set it up, especially in inFlow. So to get started, one of the things people always ask is what's the difference? Because I hear it all the time. A lot of people using barcodes and SKUs interchangeably, and I get it. They're very very similar, and so it's easy to think that they're kind of the same thing. So much like barcodes, SKUs are unique codes. They consist of a set of letters and numbers that you can assign to your product so that you can manage your inventory more efficiently. The alphanumeric code is typically between 8 and 12 characters long, and it corresponds to different pieces of information such as, brand, type, style, size, color, availability. So you can actually piece that into your SKU and make it like an internal code for yourself. But it's important to note that the SKU is not universal. The SKUs you generate are unique to your own product. And that's one of the biggest differences between a SKU and a barcode. A barcode, on the other hand, is a picture that represents numbers, text, or both. So, using a scanning device like our smart scanner, you can read this picture and then transmit that information to a computer or to your inFlow software. Now, if you're using your barcodes for internal use, you may want to create barcodes based on your product SKUs so you can kind of complement them. And if you generate them within inFlow, you actually have the option where it like copies the same barcode as it does to the SKU field. But however, if you're looking to use barcodes externally, you'll need to register your barcodes with GS1, in which case, obviously, the barcode and the SKU numbers won't match. So that's a key piece that a lot of people actually don't know about. And so I'll go further into detail later on in the next few slides. So another thing is, even though SKU and barcodes may come together, again, SKU codes are unique to a seller when assigned to an item. Barcodes can be assigned to like products without having to worry where they're being sold. So you might notice that certain products with a barcode, they have the same barcode, but with your SKU, it can be very, very specific to a product, again, to the size, the color, the like the different pieces that you have of the product, and you can customize each one of those. Now, why are they so useful? So we'll start off with barcodes, and I mean, they're both useful for pretty much the same reasons. They make tracking, organizing, and using it on a day-to-day really easy. So for barcodes will help increase your inventory accuracy. So we humans, we tend to make mistakes all the time. It's very easy to make a simple mistake. So barcodes kind of help prevent some of those human errors because a computer tends to again, read things a little bit more efficiently and accurately. So it helps prevent some of those mistakes. Number two, it saves time and increases your efficiency. So, I mean, as you guys probably know, having a barcode number or any kind of number, if you're manually typing it in, it's going to take some time. Whereas if you just scan it with a smart scanner or any kind of scanner, or even your phone, because we have it on the mobile app, you can scan that barcode and it's going to be, within a couple seconds. So it's going to save you a lot of time. It'll also help grow your business easily. So again, as you probably know, with barcodes, if you have one or two products, it does save you some time. But as you grow your business and you have more and more products, having a barcode is going to make it easier to track all of that information. So sure, maybe with 100 products, it's not that difficult without barcodes. But once you start growing your business and you have 10,000 products, it gets a little bit harder to manage. And so with barcodes, you're keeping all of those products organized and making it easier for you to grow your business. And number 4, it looks professional. I mean, when you have barcodes on your products, it immediately adds a certain level of, you know, uh, accuracy, and people like that. People like the fact that most products have a barcode. So if you're missing a barcode, um, they might worry about the authenticity of the product, or if the product is similar to other products. So it does help put it all together and make it look professional. Now, when it comes to SKUs, like I mentioned, SKUs actually have pretty much the same advantages. One of the first things is accurate inventory tracking. So since your SKUs track different characteristics, you can use that to monitor your inventory. So you can check the availability of specific items and your stock levels across multiple stores. Now, number 2 is better customer experience. So if you're in sales, you'll probably know that you'll want to know at least what products are coming in and what products are coming out. So by having the specific SKU, you'll be able to tell the difference between the products and make sure it's easier to not mess that up. And so it'll be the same for your customers. So it'll make sure that you're accurately sending out the correct product rather than making that mistake and having products that are very similar and you send out the wrong one. So it improves the customer experience in that way. That kind of leads into point number 3, which is more efficient fulfillment. Again, because you'll have these SKU codes, it'll help you fulfill your orders faster and more efficiently. And so it's digitalizing that process for you. It saves you time when packing and shipping, and it helps you fulfill those orders just a lot quicker. Number 4 is behavior analytics. So by having SKUs, you'll be able to understand, your customers' purchasing habits, understand which products are popular, which aren't, and that can help you with your own ordering through your vendors to see, if certain products are going out a lot faster, you'll want to order more of those and have those in stock. Whereas the products that maybe aren't selling as well can slowly be phased out. So it'll help you look at those behaviors of your customers. Now, we'll now move on to like barcodes specifically. So with barcodes, there's different types of barcodes, but you also need to understand how will you be using those barcodes. So the one question that I have for you guys is, are you looking to use barcodes internally or externally? Because there is a difference. So if you're looking to use barcodes internally, you can actually generate those barcodes yourself or use inFlow software to do it for you. The advantage of barcoding internally is that it'll help you keep your team organized and be able to efficiently scan products in and out. So examples of when you probably have internal barcodes is for manufacturing, office supplies, construction sites, asset tracking. Those are all instances where you can have your own generated barcode. And you don't have to just use inFlow. You can use, there's a bunch of other softwares online right now that'll generate a free barcode for you, and you can import that into inFlow. But if you are looking to use it externally, so if you're looking to sell on Amazon or any other big retailer, you'll want to get a barcode that's recognized globally, and that's called a GTIN barcode. And I'll explain what that means a little bit later. But the advantage of barcoding externally is that you'll allow yourself to scale your business. So as you grow, you'll be able to sell your products on multiple platforms, and that offers a sense of consistency for your products. So examples of where you would use external barcodes is if you're selling things retail, e-commerce, and in wholesale and distribution. And I can see a lot of people are using them internally, which is great because, again, inFlow is already giving you those tools to generate barcodes, and it's really quick, if you don't have them set up, I'll go through an example today of how you would do that in one of the demos. Now, when you start looking at how to use barcodes, you'll probably come across the term UPC. And so the number under the barcode, which is the GTIN number, can appear in several formats, and one of them is called the UPC, the Universal Product Code. So the UPC is commonly used in North America, and it's an actual example of a GS1 barcode. You'll notice that a UPC barcode is encoded with 12 numbers. So the digits on the left represent the company, the 5 on the right identify the specific type of product, and then the final number on the right is a check digit. So it's just calculated to help confirm the integrity of your barcode number. So that is how it is made up, and I believe I have a picture coming up in a few seconds. So what's in an actual barcode though? So there's obviously the barcode itself, and when we talk about that, we're referring to the black and white lines that appear on the barcode. So it allows it to be machine readable, and the barcode itself, it's the presence and the absence of lines that will actually dictate the barcode. And there's also different widths that it'll be, so that will help your scanner actually read the barcode and then identify the GTIN number. So the number underneath the barcode itself is the GTIN, or that's what I'm calling a GTIN. And when barcodes are made, this product identifier number is created first, and then it's encoded into the barcode so that the machine can read it. So in some cases, this is a unique number that can be used internationally, and that is that GTIN, which stands for Global Trade Item Number. The next slide, you'll see, let me just go back, what that actually looks like. So you've seen a barcode. Again, the barcode itself are those lines at the top. They don't always have to be black and white, again, depending on the packaging. Sometimes they're a different color, but the number underneath it is the GTIN number. And so that number is created first, then transcribed into the barcode itself. That allows your scanner to read it and pull up that information about the barcode and like that product.
Cool. And I'll just interrupt really
Yeah.
quick. Basarath had a great question asking if inFlow can print UPC E barcodes. And so we don't. inFlow itself doesn't actually print the barcodes or anything really. I mean, we do have an integration right now with Dymo, and I'll do a nice shameless plug that hopefully either later, I think it's been pushed to early next month, so in the new year, but we have a new project coming out that will actually help you to create labels and print barcodes in all sorts of different sizes and fashions with pretty much any printer manufacturer kind of thing. So that's going to be coming very soon. We do support scanning, so you could use UPC-E or A or pretty much any of the different types, because essentially, again, that's just encasing a certain number of numbers or letters or anything like that. So that's the actual information you're storing in inFlow that's telling it what your product or what that product is, like that barcode number. So again, we're not really printing the barcode that way, but we can recognize it. So yes, you could put that information in there.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's really important to note that, so with inFlow, it won't generate a GS1 type of barcode. So you actually have to print those or pay for those through GS1 and then import them into inFlow. And that will allow you to start scanning them. But with GS1 barcodes, you do have to pay for them externally and then bring them into inFlow versus internal barcodes, which you can create yourself. And so the reason why GS1 barcodes are so popular, I guess, is because they help protect your brand and they provide the seller with reassurance about the product's authenticity. So they're a commonly used type of barcode. And of course, growing businesses might not need hundreds or thousands of barcodes at first. So GS1 also allows businesses to buy a single barcode at a time. So if you only need a few barcodes just to get your business started, you can actually get those. And I don't know if I have the link right now. I can probably attach it later to where you can buy those barcodes. And I lost my mouse.
Well, while you find your mouse,
Yeah.
I see Donald had a question saying, is there a printer that we do recommend? We've been a big fan of the Dymo printers for a long time. Dymo 450 was one of the most popular ones out there. I do know a lot of people really like Zebra, but essentially once we do have the new software available, the new label software, we will also have a recommended list of ones that we've tested with. Now, that doesn't mean that it won't work with other ones. It's just obviously we can't purchase every label printer and try them out kind of thing. So I know internally we've been testing still with Dymo, because we do have those, with a couple different brother label printers as well as Zebra. So again, that will be available too once that comes out.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil, for explaining that. And also thank you, John. John got ahead of me and posted the link to the GS1 website. So you rock. um, and just going back to a little summary, obviously barcode is an ongoing process, and using the right software can help you with that. So, for example, inFlow's app generates barcodes and turns your mobile device into the barcode scanner. We obviously have the smart scanner that we sell, which is really good, especially if you're in a warehouse. It's a lot more durable. You can put in your own SIM card because it's an Android device, and especially if you don't want your employees using their phones, the smart scanner is a great device to have. But if you're on the go and you have your phone with you and you don't have the smart scanner, you can still scan using the camera on the back of your phone. So it simplifies your life because most of us carry our phone with us all the time. So it's just a pretty easy, simple step, and I'll actually show an example of that later. But printing your barcodes is easy too. So you can use a standard office printer to make those labels for your shelves. They might not print in the size that you want if you're just using a standard printer, so you might have to do some cutting and crafting. But if you prefer a high-tech option, we do have obviously the inFlow Smart Scanner, and then that works with the Dymo label printers. So like Phil mentioned, we've just tested the Dymo label printer so many times, so that's usually what we recommend. But there's a bunch of other printers that can be used and you can print with. And thank you, Donald. He's like, highly recommend the Smart Scanner. I love that. It is awesome. I actually don't have mine charged, but Phil, do you have yours with you?
I have mine at least sitting here, kind of thing. And we actually just launched. This is the 2, but we actually just launched the 3rd version that did get shipped out. So anyone who pre-ordered it, I believe, should have it now. Yeah, they've been doing really well. They're definitely handy to have around. I did see there were a couple other questions too. Norman had asked if there would be any inFlow certified direct thermal barcode printers. Personally, I'm not sure if we've been testing with thermal ones. Again, once the new label software comes out, it should work with pretty much anything. We are also possibly, again, this is kind of just sneak peek for everyone who's here today, but we are possibly looking into making our own printer, just like how we kind of have our own scanner as well too. So that's still being finalized, and they're testing things out with that. So we may have something like that in the works as well too. Heather was also asking how would we compile all the barcodes in a book instead of directly applying them to the products. So I'm not sure if we have anything in the slides coming up that might talk about this as well, but do you have any thoughts, Katya?
I do not have it that way, but I know in the past we've had like a separate page that prints out with all of your barcodes. With our new updates, I don't believe it works the same way. Right, Phil, correct me if I'm wrong.
Which updates?
Well, I was gone on mat leave. There was a change to how our settings were, and so yeah, I'll show you guys that in the demo itself. If you are looking just to print specific barcodes, I find it actually helps to create like a fake purchase order and then put it on there. Select how many barcodes you actually want to print off, and through the web app you can print all of those kind of at once. So I find that's pretty helpful if you're looking for like a specific set of barcodes that you're looking to print. But I'll show that in just a moment, actually.
I guess the only other option, sorry, that I can think of is we do have, if you log into your account and go to the settings page under inventory, I'll post a link there. But under barcodes and SKUs, I think if you click the print button, it'll bring up like a page that should essentially have all your barcodes just on.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
on
Get
one
barcoded.
page. Yeah, there you go. It's called Get Barcoded.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I mean, you could print that. It essentially would just print on multiple pages, just with like the name, the barcode, and that's it, kind of thing. And then, like Katya was saying, you could either like kind of craft that around and cut and paste to make it kind of fit better. Because again, I think it would print in just like one column on all your pages. So you might want to save some space and time by kind of putting them side by side. But that is one option as well.
No, and I think that's pretty helpful. And that was that little button wasn't working for me before, so I'm glad that it's I reloaded the page. I think my internet's just being weird today, but yeah, the Get Barcoded page is finally loading up with all the barcodes. And again, I'll show you guys how you can get to that. Now, other than just having the barcodes that way, another way that I've seen people print it out is so they will download a barcode font. So we actually have a blog post again that I can link right now because I have it open with me. But if you download the code 39 barcode, you'll be able to install it as a font, and then on Microsoft Excel or Windows, you can bring that font in. If you export all of your barcodes and then just change the font for it, you'll be able to actually see physical barcodes. And I've seen people do that, and then they just print that off. So that's kind of another way that you can possibly do it. And there's a few different kinds of codes. There's code 39, code 128. I believe inFlow can read pretty much all of them when you're scanning with, again, either the smart scanner or the mobile app. So it doesn't matter really which one you want to use. We just tend to use code 39. We find that it's the most common. And another example of, again, the symbology, so different codes is, like Universal Product Code, UPC, that tends to be used in North America. In Europe, it's called the EAN, the European Article Number. Amazon, I believe, has their own, the ASIN. If you buy a book, there's ISBN. So there's different versions of barcodes and codes that are used for different industries. So you can always bring those into inFlow, and you'll be able to scan it.
And just one quick note on the I don't know if you're going to show it here as well too, but whenever you're using the code 39 font, you just have to remember that you have to put a star at the beginning and end of your barcode, because that's what kind of tells, I guess, your scanner that you're scanning it. You don't have that star inside the software though, like inside inFlow, so you would have to modify your barcodes just a little bit.
And I'll show kind of what that looks like, just based even off of the blog post itself. So those asterisks, the stars, if you add it next to the barcode, like on each side of it, it'll give you a scannable barcode, as Phil was mentioning. And that blog post will explain all of it in detail if you ever want to take a look through that. Now, let me just start off with the web app. So when you're in the home page itself, to get to our barcode settings, you can just click on your name at the top right, and then go into options, and then go into this inventory tab at the top. Let me also zoom in because I'm realizing the screen is pretty small. So as you'll see to the right side here, we have our barcode and SKU field or settings, and down below, you'll see that there's a generate button, a print button, and then a label printers button. So if you're connecting to a label printer, you can just click on the label printer, and this is for Dymo specifically. So you can import a bunch of different templates from Dymo. And with the Dymo software, the thing that's really cool about it is that you can create your own templates. So if you want to add a little logo or certain pieces of information that are fixed pieces, you can add that into your template and then have your specific barcode information, maybe even product name on the label as well. I don't know, Phil, if you can include our knowledge base article as well on how you can do that through Dymo.
Sure.
But one of the quick ways that Phil was mentioning that you can print all of your barcodes at once is by clicking this print option, and it's going to take you to the URL getbarcoded.inflowinventory.com. And so this will have all of the barcodes for you. And so all of your products that have a barcode will show up on this page here, and you can just, click File Print and print it to your computer's printer, or any printer that's connected. Now, if you're looking to actually generate barcodes, again, so if you're using them internally, you can click on this Generate button, and you'll be able to select if you want to generate barcodes and then generate SKUs. So you don't have to actually toggle both on. You can toggle each one on as you need. So if you want to just do SKUs, you can toggle off barcodes. If you want to just do barcodes and not SKUs, works the same way. Now, if you have them both toggled on, it will actually create the same barcode and SKU. So it'll copy that information into those products. And so you can change the prefix, the number that it starts at, and then the suffix. Now, if you have no barcodes in your system at the moment and you generate it, it's going to generate a barcode based on this kind of system right away, and it's going to do for all of them. But if you have barcodes on some of your products and not others, it'll only fill in the products that don't have barcodes. So if you did want to clear your system and you no longer want to use some of the old barcodes that you've generated in the past, and you want to create, kind of one consistent naming structure for your barcodes, you can actually export your product details information, delete all your barcodes, re-import that into inFlow, and then just generate the barcodes that way, and it'll give you fresh barcodes from the beginning. Any questions?
I saw Donald had one saying, is there a setting to print all the barcodes in the same size? Unfortunately, with the get barcoded, no, they'll stretch, I guess, based on depending on how long they are. I mean, if your barcodes are a consistent length, then they should be similar. The only other excuse me, again, with like the Dymo option, it's you are creating templates that are a specific size, so that it then shrinks things to it. So again, that would then kind of give you that option, and as well, our upcoming software, when it is released, will have that same kind of thing as well.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And now, once you actually have these barcodes generated and the SKUs generated as well, you can go into your product list and double check that. Actually, before I go there, though, another key setting that it's really good to take a look at is your SKU or description, because that comes up as a question all the time. So in inFlow, you now have the option to choose what will show up. Like on a purchase order and sales order, there's usually the product name, and then you can have product name and SKU or product name and description. And so you'll have that selection there. And so we do recommend product name and SKU. They tend to be used the most often, and that is something that was fairly new. I think it's only been a year old in inFlow. A lot of people were asking for that. But you do have both of those options, and no matter which one you choose, SKU and description will still actually stay on the product page. This is just dictating what will show up, on lists and documents and things like that. So if I actually go to my product list, you'll notice that in my barcode column, I have different kinds of barcodes. So some of them are using that structure that I mentioned before, where it had the prefix, so BC, and then the number. Some of them have their own barcodes already that were imported in. So you can do a mix of these. We do recommend that if you have certain products with barcodes, bring those in first and then generate all of the empty ones that you want to fill in. And like I mentioned, if you have old ones that you don't want to use at all, export the product list, erase them completely, and then generate. Now, if I click into one of these barcodes, let's say I'm looking at my Banshee glasses, I can print the barcode directly from that product page. So it's just this button at the top. If I click print barcode, and I think it might be a little bit slower because I'm not actually connected. Oh no, it did connect to my demo printer. So you'll see that there's a template that was imported into my database. So this is one of the templates that was created in Dymo. And so I have the option to select from one of the other ones that I have. And so they're using different structures, but you'll select the template that you want to use. And for example, this one, I believe the text of the barcode was a little too big, so it couldn't fit in there. So you'll want to make sure that when you import it, test it out with at least one of your products, make sure it's working so that then you can use it for all of your other ones and then print it out. So I can just click print from here. I can also do multiple copies. So if you're looking to print multiple barcodes at once for the same product, you can do so by just adjusting the plus or minus buttons and then click print. I think there are a couple of questions.
Jack had one I saw. We have more than one supplier for a single item with different costs. Can we have them under the same SKU or barcode?
Yeah. So if you have more than one supplier, again, it depends on how you want to calculate your costs. We do have different costing methods in inFlow, and I think we might even have a webinar on that as well that goes through that, as well as one of our knowledge base articles. But essentially, there's moving average, there's manual, meaning you'll have to adjust it every single time. There's first in, first out, last in, first out. And so in that case, if you want to track each individual cost, you might want to use first in, first out, or last in, first out so that it calculates the correct profit when you sell those products. But yes, you could use the same SKU and barcode, especially if it's just being used internally for you and your team to keep things organized. You don't have to make it different. It really depends on also how you're selling your product. So if you are selling on websites like Amazon or any other big retailer, in that case, you might have to purchase a separate barcode, and you could use that, yes, for the same product, even if it is coming from different suppliers. And then Basirath, I noticed you said you're getting an error. So one thing you could do is you could reach out to support@inflowinventory.com. So if things aren't working out and you're having a technical issue, definitely feel free to reach out to our support team. We're pretty quick these days, and so one of us will get back to you. But thank you, Pooja. I was just going to ask if you could include the support email for us in the chat. So yeah, if you want to reach out there and we can take a look at that.
Cool. Jack was also mentioning that he had a similar issue, I think, as well, too, and that reinstalling the printer had helped fix it. So you might want to try that as well, too.
And then Said, what's the difference between SKU and barcode? So it's something that I had mentioned a little bit earlier at the very beginning of the webinar, but just a quick summary again. So SKU itself is a very unique number that you individually create for your products, whereas a barcode can match the SKU if you're using it internally, but if you're using it externally, it actually assigns a specific barcode when you purchase it from GS1 to your products that are then universally known. So it's like a global identification number. And so barcodes are more specific for when you're selling, and I find SKUs are tend to help with internal processes and keeping things organized, and it's specifically identifying your products. And I'll show you a little bit more about SKUs actually, I think, in the upcoming slides coming up right now. But any other questions? Nope, cool. Okay, so let me go back to the slideshow.
Thank you for
SKUs. Yes. Did I miss anything? No?
No,
Cool.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So key points to remember when creating SKUs. So these are a few of just like some guidelines that you can use. So when creating SKUs, it's best to keep it between 8 to 12 characters. Start the SKU number with a letter. We find that helps with identification a little bit more. And then ensure each letter and number denotes an important characteristic of your product. This will help you be able to maybe remember a SKU a lot faster because you have a specific way of structuring it. And it can also help your team members when they're picking items to make sure that they're picking the correct product when they look at the SKU itself. But don't overload the SKU with too much meaning either. You don't want it to be too complicated. You want it to be simple enough that your teammates can look at it and have an idea of what that product is, because you might not always be able to see through the packaging. So if it's packaged in a box or some kind of material that's opaque, you can't see what's inside it, the SKU kind of helps you identify what it is. Another key thing to remember is not to use a 0 to start the SKU, or to avoid letters such as L, I, O, because they tend to be confused with numbers. Again, we're trying to make a SKU as easy to read as possible. So keep it a simple format, and it's best not to reuse SKU numbers, so have your own individual SKUs that you create. Using separators such as dashes or dots can also help you out, but avoid spaces and slashes between characters. So this is if you're actually manually creating your own SKUs and you want to have a specific structure. As I showed earlier in inFlow, when you generate it, it'll only really allow you to change the prefix and the suffix. So it won't specifically identify your number the way that it would if you were to manually come up with these SKUs. But if you have so many products that you can't particularly do that, then you might want to go ahead and just generate them through inFlow itself. Now, again, just a few more tips on if you are manually generating your SKUs. So one, you want to kind of choose SKU number identifiers. So what each specific section is going to mean. So for example, let's say you have a brand of product, and so the brand starts with RS. You'll want to include RS at the beginning of the SKU, and then you can move on to the next identifier. So for example, if it's a shirt, you can assign it the number 11. If it's pants, 12, dress, 13. So you'll put that in as your next few digits. The following code will describe the color. So if it's red, you can have 21, purple 22, and then you can do your sizes after that. So small, medium, large. So you'll be able to have a specific meaning for each number, and that will help you and your team identify what that product is. And again, this is a more intense way to create your SKUs. You do not have to go this route, but some people like to have it like this because they find that it just keeps things a little bit more organized. Now, again, how do I set it up? So as I showed earlier, you can set it up just through inFlow when you're actually creating a new product, or you can generate it through the settings page. So I'll go back to my screen. And do we have any questions in the meantime?
Yeah, while you're doing that, so Lauren was saying that she deals with basically books that use ISBN barcodes, and that some of them are printed in different formats, like paperback, hardcover, and they'll have different ISBN numbers, but that the format doesn't matter to them. So can they have multiple barcodes on one product, which Pooja did put in the chat there, but we'll say it out loud for everyone else. But yes, you can put a comma after your first barcode in the barcode field, and then put another barcode, and you can essentially, as long as they're comma separated. The only thing to keep in mind with that is that if you are using something like our Dymo software or integration for printing labels or anything, it does not know to separate barcodes that way. So it could make printing your barcodes a little tricky, but in this case, it sounds like obviously your barcodes are already set up on the books and stuff like that. So, so yeah, if you just put a comma in between, then you can have multiple barcodes.
Yeah. And as Phil mentioned, for example, again, looking at the Banshee product, again, comma, and then you would go ahead and enter your next barcode after that. And
You're
so
in the
if you
SKU
actually
field.
Sorry, yes, in the barcode field. Thank you. Do also apologize. I'm a little sick today, so my brain is not working the same as normal. But yeah, so you can have multiple barcodes saved in the product itself. And I can kind of show this example through the mobile app and how it scans. So I find that that can be helpful just to see that both of those can actually scan in and find the same product, even though you have to. The only thing, like Phil mentioned, is when it comes to printing, it can't distinguish between the barcodes, that there's multiple, and so you might not be able to print out those barcodes that way. But let me continue on here. So with SKU itself, like I mentioned, you can just enter it into your product page. So let's say we create a new product and we're going to call it webinar test. And I go ahead and create that. It's going to leave or it's actually going to generate the SKU because I have that specific setting turned on. But if I didn't have it turned on, I would just go in here and let's say, again, webinar test. I'd put today's date, 12/13/2022, and that could be my SKU. So it can be really anything that you want. And then you can have those set up for each of your products, but manually entering in. You can also do it through your product details, as I mentioned earlier. So if you were to go to the main menu and export your product details, so it export all of your products, there will be a specific column for SKUs that you can fill in and just import it back in.
And
Now,
I just think, sorry, one quick thing that's important to note is that SKUs, just like product names, do have to be unique across all your products. Barcodes technically do not. Now, having multiple products with the same barcode could just give you strange results, because when you scan it, I believe inFlow will just pick the first one that it finds. But you cannot have two products with the exact same SKU. Which is also just important to keep in mind if you're ever deactivating products, because when we deactivate a product, it doesn't delete it, it doesn't get rid of it or anything like that, so it's kind of just hidden. So if you have a SKU associated with that product, you might want to either modify the SKU before deactivating it or remove it completely. Just that way, if you ever did want to use that SKU again, then you won't get an error. Otherwise, it would come up saying this SKU is already in use, and then you'd have to track it down and reactivate it and change it and everything like that. So yeah, just something good to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm. That's a very great point. Thank you, Phil. Now, let's say you have your smart scanner, you have your mobile app, and you want to scan a barcode for a new item. And so let's create a new barcode. So when I click on the little plus button next to inventory and I click on new product, I have some vitamins near me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and scan those in. So I'll click create, and then just next to the barcode field, even though I have them generated, I can click on the barcode and let's just scan some vitamins in here. So it's going to take the barcode that I have on the product itself. So again, this is it is a regular UPC barcode. So whatever brand this is, they had purchased a specific barcode, and so that's designated to this specific set of vitamins. But yeah, you would just click on that little barcode icon, scan it in, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. So when I actually go to, let's say, a purchase order and I create a new purchase order, I'll be able to scan the same product, and you'll see obviously how fast it is to just scan. And let's say keep scanning. It's going to keep adjusting the quantity for me. So it simplifies time instead of having to go into add product, find the specific product that you're looking for, especially if you have multiple products that are very similar in name. It can be a little tricky and it's easy to confuse the two. So it's a lot faster than having to manually search through your product list. Any questions? Or
So
is there
far, it
anything
looks like
else anyone wanted to see?
I do know one person had asked. Sorry, I don't know if I made note. She was asking me if you could show how to print all the barcodes again. Oh, I think it was Barbara. So I don't know if you want to show that in
Yeah, of
the web
course.
app again to get barcoded.
So let me just disconnect, or actually I don't need to disconnect TeamViewer, but let's just go back here. So if you wanted to print all the barcodes, if you just go into your settings, so just click on the top right where your name is and your email, and you would go into options. Let me just discard this item. You would click on the little inventory tab right at the top, and then click print, and that would take you to the get barcoded page. That will look like this, and you can just right click onto the page itself and click print, and that will just ask you to select which printer you want to print to. Another option that I was mentioning earlier is if you actually want to go to, let's say, a new purchase order, and in here I want to add a bunch of different items. So I can click add product, and so I can go ahead and add each one individually there. Or you can do this on your phone and you could scan a bunch of your products. Once you add them all in, another thing that you can do is you can just click, once I save it, you can just click print at the top, and there's going to be an option for barcodes. So if I go ahead and do that, and again, my internet is a bit slow, you'll see that I can select the all products, so all of the ones that I have here, and you can have as many as you like. You'd select the layout template, and then when you click print, it's actually going to print all of the products that are on that specific purchase order. So it's really nice if you're receiving brand new products into your stock, and so you can print the barcodes as you receive them so that you can update, like if you're adding these onto your shelves, you can add these onto your shelves immediately as you start receiving. So it saves you some time instead of having to do it later on and postponing it and maybe not getting around to doing it, because that's one quick way of losing track of your organization system. So it's best to actually do it once you start receiving your products in a purchase order. I did see another question pop in right before the end. Is it okay to use SKUs as barcodes? If it's kind of internal product, yes, 100%. Again, if you're using them externally, you'll have to purchase that separate barcode, the one that's going to have a GTIN number. But yeah, if you're using it internally, totally, and inFlow will actually generate it so that it copies the two of them. So if you want to do that all together.
And John had a wonderful saying that we needed a slogan. So
yeah,
should
I was just reading that.
Choose barcode softwares that give a beep. I like that. That's.
But thank you again, everyone, for joining. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions, please reach out to support@inflowinventory.com, and we can definitely answer them there. But
Cool.
I hope everyone has a great day, and we wish you all the best. See you guys on the next webinar.
Yep. And happy holidays and everything, and happy New Year.
Yes, happy holidays to everyone.
All right, take care.
See you guys. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.